Hi everybody, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so happy that you are with me on this journey, and I want to talk to you today about purpose in our lives and also how we can, step up to that by asking questions in a different way than we ever have in the past. Now, Ardith Bowman is one of our bloggers. In this article that she wrote, The 3 Pillars to Level Up Your Purpose, the Wise Woman, how you can create a new life. And there were so many parts in that, even in the title of the article, that I just felt so inspired to share it with you. But the first thing is, I don't think that we consider ourselves wise women all the time. I think that we follow the guidelines and the rules that we've learned all our lives. And as we get to be in our 60s, we kind of start to, give up in a way on what's truly our essential purpose and ourself. And I think being a wise woman has not got anything to do with being intellectually wise or knowledgeable, but it's got to do with that inner sense of being and that sense of purpose that we can have in our lives. And we have to believe in ourselves, and that we have to believe that things are possible. This is the thing I think that we give up on as we get a little older, that we're too old to do something, or we're not strong enough to do something, or we have too many habits to break, that we can't. And I think that Ardith hits on something here which I think is so interesting and so important to touch on, that I think I'd never really thought about it. And that was how we think. As a woman, how we think. And she talks about the fact that in order to have purpose and meaning in our lives, we need to start connecting with ourselves as women. Now, men, we live in a masculine society, and I'm not, criticizing or in a way comparing, I guess, with the way men deal with situations. But men tend to be very more competitive and more action orientated. They sort of have a goal and they go for it, and they're more intellectual and forceful in their dealing with situations. Women tend to be, in my opinion, this is all my opinion by the way, tend to be more creative and trusting and receptive to multiple points of view and more open. So creativity rather than control. And I think that that's the approach that Ardith talks about in terms of asking questions of ourselves and making changes in our lives that are going to lead us to a more purposeful, happy life. And I think that our feminine energies, now, I know maybe this is taking it into an area that is like, a little bit obscure and, what on earth is she talking about? But you know what I'm talking about. Is that energy that is creative and purposeful and, it's just deeper. It's deeper and more connected to other people, to other women, other men, that we are more connected to humanity. I really do believe that. And when we approach questions in our lives, how am I going to change, for example, how am I going to lose weight? We often will say things like, how am I ever going to lose weight? Which is like immediately losing weight involves action. It involves controlling. It involves going into a diet, taking on a diet or not eating certain foods, or, like how am I ever going to lose my weight starts immediately to set up a condition of control. Whereas if you were to ask the question, how can I transform my weight? I just love that difference when you think about it. How am I going to lose weight? And then the next thing is, how am I going to transform my weight? And that to me gives you a totally different energy. I call it a feminine energy, because it's basically saying, how can I use my creative, my transformational powers to actually change a behavior or make an improvement in my life? I just think that's really powerful. How am I ever going to find love? Finding love is a control. You're looking to do something that's going to lead to a certain an outcome. You're going to do something in control of yourself to find something you don't have at the moment. It's a control thing. And then instead of saying that, why not say, how am I going to be able to create love in my life? It even feels different when you say it. Like, how am I going to ever find love? It's sort of the find comes down. Like, how am I ever going to find love? Whereas, how am I ever going to create love in my life? Another thing we say when we're starting a project is, how am I ever going to finish this project? And again, think of the word finish. It's like it's got a beginning and an end, and it's got activities, and it's got a plan. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be thinking about your changes in your life in a sort of structured way and have a plan of action. I'm just saying that when you approach it, if you were to say something like, how am I going to create this project? Or how am I going to embellish? How am I going to transform this situation? It just gives you a different inner glow. I can't really describe it except to say that it's going to give you a push from the inside rather than just thinking about how to do it manually from the outside. We know what we desire. We know that we are worthy of our desires. And the fact that we can't transform them into reality is often because we approach it in a way that sets ourselves up for failure. We are not victims of our past. We don't have to put everything that we're doing, all the kind of decisions we're making, all the plans are making in terms of what we didn't do in the past. But we tend to do that. We tend to go back and reconstruct things that we could have done differently, and then that just brings everything to a halt. And I think that knowing that we have a special power, that we are wise women, that we actually do have the ability to transform a situation, to create a new way of life, to bring happiness and love into our lives, and to be energetic about having an attitude of gratitude, being grateful for the things that we have. And through all of that, because we feel empowered rather than held back, we can act with confidence. It's amazing to me how many women in our 16Me community, when you ask them, do you feel confident now, more or less now in your life? Lots of people will say less confident. And when you think about it, it's kind of sad because there's so much wisdom and knowledge and experience that's gone into our lives that can make us, really able to move to the next level, to achieve that goal of purpose and passion in our lives. You are not incompetent. You are not, weak. You are not lacking in confidence. You are a creative force in this universe. And standing together, I think, is the secret. Standing together, knowing that you are not alone, even if you live alone, even if you work alone. So much of what we do in our 60s is by ourselves. A lot of you women in our community have lost their husbands or their partners, and that can be absolutely heartbreaking. And it takes some time. And even losing a pet, can be just so devastating as we get older, because so much of who we are is bound up with that memory and that person. And of course, so many children are estranged from their families right now, even if not emotionally estranged. So many of our children live in other parts of the world, other parts of the country, and that in itself is very challenging. So I think it's important not to let setbacks and these feelings of not being able to cope with, or not being able to finish or able to do something, and replace that with just by plugging into your wonderful, creative, powerful, confident self. And of course you can do it. Yes, you can do this. Don't let things move you back. You might take one step back. The world might take you one step back. There's so many horrible things that are happening in our world that we have to deal with every single day. But I think we need to move forward. It's all we can do. It is what we do. We do what we can control. We do what we have control of. And I'd love to learn about your experiences with this. What kind of powerful questions have you asked in your life, that required a response, or required sort of a plan or a mantra? And how many times you turned to yourself and said, how am I going to do that? How am I going to control that? Where really saying, how can I surrender to it? How can I create a new vision, a new angle for that situation? I'd love to know. And, have you moved towards things in your life that required your plugging into your true feminine self? I'd love to talk to you more about this. But have a really, blissful day, good day, wherever you are. Know that it's not easy, but you can do it together. If you want to join our Patreon supporters group, it's a wonderful group of women who are talking about this kind of stuff all the time. We get together Monday and Wednesday in a kind of a live show, and people are now they've started up a private Facebook group. We are talking about travel, about planning trips together, and women are getting together in person. We've had several women join a cruise. We've had people get together for coffee in different parts of the world, and it's all wonderful, because that's where we find our strength, with other sisters, with other women who are on that wavelength with you. So take really good care. Know that you're loved and respected, and that I appreciate you being here. Leave your comments in the section below and tell us how you're going to start creating a beautiful new life in your 60s. Sending lots of love. Bye-bye for now.